Hi, it's me again, Michaela. Sorry if there's a lot of background noise in this. I'm on vacation as per my last video, but for this I wanted to go over the cultivation theory. So the outline of the core ideas of this theory, I just said it was the cultivation theory, so let me go over the core idea and the definition. So the definition is basically this theory examines the long-term effects of TV, basically, or any media, basically any mass media, and how it affects people in the long term. So an example of this would be like in our book, the main example of this cultivation theory is TV and violence. How much violence we see on TV cultivates what we perceive and how we go about in the real world. So if we see a ton of violence on TV, we might perceive a different world than what is actually out there. We might see it as more violent and we might be more terrified to be out in the real world. So, um, key theorists and influences. So, the cultivation theory was basically identified by George Gerbner. He basically did most of the surveys and the studies for this theory, and he coined it. Another couple theorists in this, or maybe conductors, were Jennings Bryant and Dorina Miron. Those are the most recent. The first recent was George Gerbner, and I'll get more information on him in a second. But those were the main key theorists and influences, and they did most of the studies or the research for this. So, theoretical orientation of the theory. So, in my opinion, from what I've seen for the orientation of this was specifically the television violence on American audiences. Like I referenced earlier, Gerbner's initial work was on violence and TV. So, him and his team speculated that violence basically had a huge impact on how people saw laws or safety in their neighborhood, or crime rates, or police responses. And it was basically like measured dramatic violence. So that's a huge part of this theory if you look at it. And a couple of critiques that I saw for this. So Gerbner was actually personally critiqued and criticized for kind of all-encompassing all forms of violence and generalizing them, because there are different types of violence and you cannot generalize all of them to have the same effect. And then a second critique was how general the question of this theory was, and it was too general to sum up how to conduct not a theory, but a research or a study on. So that is all I have for the cultivation theory, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you.